I know in my announcements we mentioned water levels. The Memorial Park well is not part of it, so it's not into our system, it's free water. That's why we directed all of the car washes over to that. Okay, public comments on agenda items. Okay, please state your name, address. Do we have a timer? Sure.
Okay. Don Jacaruso, 39 Woodfield Drive. You just mentioned about the FOIL requests. Just a question on that. I know there was a 25-cent per page fee, but if one is requesting it be emailed, that's not relevant, correct?
Somebody is still, I don't know if the page is charged. I'll have to, I can
From
get
what
that
I
answer for you.
understood, if they're
But-
emailed,
But
there's
the
no
person
fees.
preparing it.
And that was not on the application.
It's in the law, the state law. I can forward it to you.
Also, on agenda, the August 9th, do we have an agenda for the planning board meeting?
Yeah, I don't, I don't think there is one, but there has to be.
As
one
of right
within
now,
10
the
days.
only thing that's on the agenda is a public hearing. Applicants have until 7 days prior to the meeting to submit any information to be submitted for the agenda. So as of right now, we don't have anything because we do have another meeting before that. So the only item as of right now is the public hearing because that's been scheduled from last month.
So as far as notice goes or changes, I mean, I spoke, I'm understanding that can change up until the day of. I mean, for,
Usually not with the planning.
I mean, if somebody
Well,
were,
that's
if we were to put
why-
somebody on the agenda and then they cancel for some reason, that would be the change. But they have 7 days before to submit all of the documents we need by PDF and hard copy to the village in order to be considered for the agenda. The engineer and the attorney will determine if they have ample time to review and provide comment on their submission, and if they do, they will be placed on the agenda. But we won't know that until the deadline for submission comes, which is 7 days prior to the meeting.
so,
And I believe the zoning board is the same.
I'm not,
7 days could
we
be
changed
10,
it to
but-
7 days, like,
You know, the
So-
village board accepts, like tonight, we had to accept the sign because it came to us late. But the planning and zoning board, everything has to be submitted in a much more timely fashion.
and is there any consideration as to possibly holding that meeting somewhere other than here based on potential large turnout?
it's not something that we have discussed or determined. I certainly can have a conversation with the attorney and see what she feels about it.
We probably have to go to school.
And will they charge you? They charge you. Remember, you're a taxpayer, you get charged for all of that.
But it's a question,
It's a good question, but
and the
you
question would
might
be.
be charged for that.
And so also at that meeting, is that when these issues are, when you say they have to meet the, whatever you're putting, sorry?
It's 3 minutes, the time is up, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Mr. Salter, how are you?
Good. John Salter,
This
25
is the
Woodland
village
Road.
hall.
Excuse me?
This is the village hall, I'm glad you can make it.
Yeah. Did you get my address? 25 Woodland Road? I'm retired FDNY. I'm also the president of the Washingtonville 555 Memorial Committee. We have a little, I'll call it an issue, arising over the Flags for Heroes. Obviously, it's not over the flags, but it's over the families of the 5 firefighters have expressed a desire to have the specific day of September 11th a little more solemn and a little bit more focused on the monument and those 5 men, rather than the flags and the lights and all the stuff that goes along with that fundraising effort by the Kiwanis. Obviously, it's a tremendous program. Kiwanis does it all over the country. They did it last year for the first time at the 20th anniversary. For those of you that have been in Washingtonville for any amount of time, we do a candlelight ceremony there every single year. We've been doing it for 20 years. And we traditionally had put flags out every year, much smaller flags, no lights or anything like that, and everyone took the flags home at the end of the ceremony. For the 20th anniversary, things would change around because it was the 20th anniversary, and we stepped back and allowed all those things to happen, and they did, and that was wonderful. But we didn't know it was, that these Flags for Heroes was going to be an annual event. So of course, we saw the signs and the advertisements for the Flags for Heroes. I also just saw an advertisement and the flags at the site, which I wasn't very happy with, but I can't believe we're doing a fundraiser at a memorial site. But aside from that, the families have expressed an interest in the day of September 11th, not having those flags there. We've been trying to contact you and Betty, and we haven't got any response back from either one of you to have a discussion about that. Hence, I stand here tonight to ask for that discussion. Number one, find out who it is. Is this a board decision or a mayoral decision? I don't know, that makes that decision. And number two, can we sit down and talk about it and try to come to a resolution?
I received an email from
Steve Nevins.
Steve, I don't know his first name. so
Jerry Nevins' brother.
Yes. That they're okay having the flags up 3 days out of the year.
They're okay with flags, what?
On the site, July 4th, Veterans Day, and Memorial Day. No other days.
Well, I read that email, and that's not what he said at all. He was suggesting that there were other days based on other Kiwanis clubs around the country. This is a national program.
Yes.
Very few of them do it through September. Very few of them do it at a September 11th or a memorial or a monument. So he was simply suggesting there are other times to do it. Having said that, whether or not it's done that time or any other time, as I've already said, and I'm trying to simplify it, we're just trying to clear one day. We just want the one day. If they're going to put it up in
Memorial Day.
August and keep it till October 1st, obviously that includes September 11th. If there's some way that we could not have the flags and lights up on September 11th, that would solve the problem. I mean, I think that would be the easier solution. This is obviously a conversation we can have here, or we can have some other day, but I think it's easily solved. I don't think it would have any adverse effect on their fundraising, yet I think it would respect the families who are requesting one simple day, one single day of a more solemn atmosphere, rather than, people going there and looking at the flag that they sponsored and whatever else goes on with that.
But you know why the lights were put up, right?
Say again?
You know why the lights were installed? Because we had flags up, and we turned them around for the trees. Okay, we were criticized by putting flags up and we didn't have lights. So the village went out, the village had lights installed for the trees, and then they could be turned around for the flags. Okay. So what you're saying is that you don't want no lights at all on September 11th? Or am I not hearing that correctly?
You know what, we didn't get into a detailed discussion with them, but certainly that's another point that could be discussed if we could discuss it.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I don't know that we have to discuss it right here, right now, or find some other time to do it. Are you the deciding factor, or is this board decide?
The board. The board is.
Okay.
I have a
So-
question. Who installs the flag? Is DPW or is it the Kiwanis Club?
The Kiwanis Club installed the flags around the perimeter of
The Kiwanis Club did?
install the flags around the perimeter. DPW takes care of the flag behind the monument.
Okay.
They lower it, they raise it. Now, this past year, the flag was lowered half-staff. I don't know why. Okay, and the flags are raised and lowered by the DPW or police department sometimes that have helped out. Flags can only be lowered and raised by the governor of New York or by the president of the United States.
And what flags are you talking about?
The American flag behind the monument. It was lowered. I don't know why. I didn't question why, but it was lowered.
That flag, a new flag is installed there every morning of September 11th.
No, it was 3 weeks ago, a month ago.
but the flag, a new flag is installed on September 11th by the
ROTC.
ROTC.
Yeah.
They replace the flag and they do that whole ceremony there in the morning, usually unnoticed by most people because it's pretty early in the morning. Right. I don't know who's lowering the flag or raising the flag, it's your park, you're gonna have to figure that out.
Well, I don't, I can't hang out there, but, I'm just letting you know that that flag was lowered without the authority from the President of the United States.
What date
Regardless
was
how
it
you feel
lowered
about
for?
him,
What
he
date was
doesn't-
it lowered for?
I don't know. I think there was a firefighter who lost their life in the city, maybe, I don't know. I don't know.
No, no.
Um,
Anyway,
And I'm not saying you did it.
well, I know I
You have
didn't do
other
it, so if you were
things.
saying that, I can tell you no, I didn't do that, that's a pretty easy one. Next is, I just want to stay focused on that one day. I want to stay focused on September 11th and the request of the families. I don't know how you do it in the village, I don't know how they do it in the police department, I don't know how they do it in the military, but in the fire department, when somebody is killed in a line of duty, which is equivalent of a Gold Star family in the military, we don't say no to them. If they want something, we make it happen. And these 5 families are asking if we could make it a more solemn day on September 11th. I can't imagine that between a great organization like the Kiwanis and the village of Washingtonville, with a little bit of input possibly from our committee, we could either make that happen or work towards making that happen, and everybody be happy when it's over.
So would this be the Kiwanis, it's their event, right? Would this be a Kiwanis decision? It's our park, so it's their event, you know what I mean? Like.
You said it was all, I heard you say it.
Don't
But,
point fingers at me.
It's-
No, you said it was our park, I heard you.
Oh, I know it's your
Look
park.
at the camera and say.
So if it's your park, then you can make all the decisions you want to make. It is their event.
right.
Yes.
Obviously, the village is allowing to have their event,
Yes,
They have the
which is why I'm
facilities
standing here talking to you.
yes,
Okay, so, but I think it's a conversation to involve the Kiwanis Club.
Yes.
Yes.
and we will have that conversation.
So you're telling me that you can contact the Kiwanis
Yeah.
and me and coordinate a meeting for the 3 of us?
We could, if you're okay with that, and I don't know what the outcome's gonna be,
Of course not.
but, if now, we just approved going to October 3rd, or 2nd, October 1st, which September 11th falls within that time, but we could certainly make a phone call to the Kiwanis.
Right. And I can tell you, one of the things that was suggested to us, I can imagine the night before September 11th, I don't know how many flags I had last year, does anybody recall?
It was just under 100, I believe.
Huh?
Just under 100.
Okay. So the night before September 11th, I'm not sure if this is a big chore, but the retired firefighters have already volunteered to assist if we need help. The flags could be taken down and the lights could be turned off in honor of September 11th for 24 hours. And then those same flags could be raised again 24 hours later and the lights turned back on. And that would complete, and stay until the end of the term that they already agreed to and you've already approved. And I see no problem with that. That's obviously my perspective. I'm not sure how the Kiwanis will feel about that, but I can't imagine that would be a terrible sacrifice on that one.
Excuse me. My name is,
Hold on.
I'm part of,
Okay. We'll get, I think we had somebody on that side also. We will have that discussion, whatever the Kiwanis, like I said, we approved it. If the Kiwanis says absolutely not, then it's a no.
So Kiwanis decides or you decide?
Well, the Kiwanis, we just approved it.
Well, you approve the dates, but
Can I ask why? I'm just curious.
you know what? Sure you can ask why.
Okay.
Call up the 5 widows and ask them why. I
No,
already-
sir, that's
They
not,
just,
I have all the respect in the world. I'm sorry for what
I
happened.
can't
What I
hear you.
don't understand is why would the field not want, why wouldn't anyone appreciate the field surrounded by the American flag?
and that's exactly what a lot of people have asked me, firefighters as well, and friends have said, that gentleman right there asked me tonight, what's the problem? And the problem is that they would just like it to be a more solemn. What is more beautiful than the American flag? It was absolutely beautiful last year, and I'm sure it'll be beautiful again this year, but we're just trying to, sometimes you just have to roll with the flow, and when the families whose husbands gave their lives that day, and whose names are etched on that monument, when they ask for something as simple as darkness and a little bit of solemnness on a particular day, something that's so easily done. It's not like we're saying, pull up the flags and put them somewhere else or do it some other month. It seems like a pretty simple request to me. As beautiful as the flags are, and as great as they'll look before and after, I agree with you. Whether it's my opinion or not has nothing to do with it. We're trying to satisfy them and comply with one of their wishes.
I'm not trying to be disrespectful at all to any of the families. You know, the terror, the horror that they had to deal with is unimaginable. My thought also, because my father was in the military, is that you have the war on terror, and some of those flags are soldiers who died because of what happened on 9/11, defending our country. So in a way, those flags represent those who have fallen because of 9/11. And to turn them off and dismiss those families would be disrespectful to them.
Right. But 100 flags, some of them are for teachers,
I-
some of them are for
yes.
friends and families. One of them was for my son who's in the Marine Corps. One of them, my wife sponsored a flag last year. So some of the wives sponsored flags last year. We're not against the flags, so let's make that absolutely clear. We are for the flags, we're for the lights, we're for the whole thing. If on September 11th, we could make the place a little more solemn, that's what we're looking for. I
But
I
you're
just
gonna
didn't
take
think that.
those flags down and then put up flags in the field?
Say
Like
again?
all the You would take down the large flags, the 3x5 flags, and put up flags along the pathway?
No, we're going to put our flags up and all anyway. Once you put those flags up, I mean, we don't need 5,000 flags. We traditionally did either 343 flags or 417 flags. There were specific numbers based on the number of first responders that died. So based on what money we had each year, we'll go buy flags, because we bought them, installed them, and then we gave them away that night. We did a variation of a couple of different numbers. And we didn't do it last year because those flags are up. And again, that leads us all the way back to, right now, back to the question of one day without flags. So that's really the request.
We will have that conversation with the Kiwanis and ask them. Like I said, I don't know where that would go, but listening to Deputy Mayor Lodato and Trustee Kolar, it's a memorial park. It's a memorial park. And it's still going on. The terror is still going on. So I thank you for allowing your son to fight for this country. Okay, I thank you for that. Right. But it's still going on. So having the American flag, and the lights come with the American flag because we had to put lights on the American flag. It's a tough decision, John, and I appreciate you bringing it to our attention, okay, but it's a tough decision. You know, there are people who took out flags who lost their child, who lost their brother or friend in the war on terror. Right? It all started on September 11th, yes, and it just kept going, and it's still going. I think the request that you're asking is, I don't know what it is. You know, I'm glad you said it's not the American flag, because that would be a whole other issue. That's discussed every day in the news also. All right? So I don't know, it's a question that I will gladly ask the Kiwanis, and they might say, absolutely not. Okay? Absolutely not.
So the decision on the 20th anniversary to allow the Kiwanis to start that, to do that, that's the first year they did it, right?
Correct.
That's just for eternity?
It's approved every year.
Excuse me?
It gets approved every year.
If they request.
Well, I mean, they've already installed the sleeves and the lights, it's not like that's, they're gonna move it somewhere else next year.
Right. But it has to be approved every year.
Right, whereas we never did, and we did it for 20. Who's been to the candlelight ceremony? We did it for 20 years. And suddenly the 20th anniversary came, and you're not doing it. And suddenly something else, we weren't even included in the discussion.
The discussion for what, flags?
Okay,
The discussion with the flags?
the discussion with the flags, correct. But she showed up that morning at the monument, you were there and I was there, and she was there,
Right.
it had already been decided that the flags were gonna be there, and the holders were gonna be there, and who was gonna install them, and how many flags there were gonna be. And I stood there
Okay,
silently, not knowing what to say, and that was the end of that. So now our flag tradition of 20 years has been erased by someone else's fundraiser, which I already said was distasteful to start with, that they're raising funds, they're doing a fundraiser at a memorial. I don't think there's another memorial in America where there's people selling things. We're doing a fundraiser right now, as a matter of fact.
at the memorial.
No, not at the memorial. We sell coins all around the country, online, in stores, and at shows, because we're building another small memorial there for the guys that are dying post 9/11, right? We don't sell our stuff at the monument.
But
The
there was a
monument's a
sign.
sacred place.
But there was a sign there last.
Absolutely not.
Yes, there was.
No.
Absolutely
No.
not. There's never been a sign for anything for sale at the monument. Ever. So anyway, that was my point. We sort of got squeezed out with our flags that were there every year as a tradition, a 20-year tradition, and now a fundraising is going on there that we have no part in, and apparently no decision in as well.
So why
I
don't
don't
we
think you
set up a
could,
meeting?
I don't think
and
that's a
then we'll-
field,
Let's set up a meeting.
I think American flags should be all over the place. You wanna put your flags up, the small flags throughout the park, by all means
Obviously,
do that.
obviously we could do that. Obviously we could do that.
There's not enough American flags to fit there, as far as I'm concerned.
So let's have a meeting between Kiwanis and you, and we'll move to the
Well, it
next.
has to be the village board, you know. It's,
Thank you.
So we're gonna have the meeting?
Yes, my name is Bob Sapienza, and I am the Vice President of the New York City Retirees Firefighters. I read the emails that Steve sent you, and I spoke to John about this actually today. And I couldn't understand what this was all about. I mean, we're all about American flags, believe me. What I don't think you understand is what the family is concerned about. It's about the selling of the flags at the memorial. It's almost like selling lemonade at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. I
It's
mean,
not a sale though, it's a fundraiser, and they put the money back into the community. the
but you're
community-
selling something. You're selling the opportunity for your name to be on that flag, is what the family is kind of against. You can have this 364 days of the year. Why have it on September 11th? The family, and we have a prayer, we pray there that day. And it's a sacred ground for us firefighters and the families. And just one day, that's all we're asking, either through you or the Kiwanis. And by the way, you can put my name on that list to speak to the Kiwanis with John. It's just one day, that's all we're asking. And as far as taking the flags down that night, we can have our retirees do it that night. We also have the Washingtonville firefighters here in Washingtonville always helped us out with things. So to have manpower, that's not a problem at all. But getting back to the families, they just think it's disrespectful, just for that day. So just look at it, if you lost a loved one that day and you want to go there and have a silent prayer with yourself, your family, your friends, that's all they're looking for. And that's all we're looking for too. It's just one day, just leave us alone. Let us remember those guys, because every single one of us work with every one of those guys, all 5 of them. So, let's talk to the Kiwanis, like John said, we can sit down. We're not against the American flag at all. As far as heroes, yes, there's plenty of heroes out there. But let's do those other heroes on a different day. Only the guys that died on September 11th, that's their day. And let's not forget that. And that's what's happening in this country, is we're forgetting. You know, we have a slogan, never forget. But that never forget is slowly disappearing. And as long as we're alive, we're not gonna let that happen. So, I don't know how many minutes we have, but thank you very much.
John, right?
Bob.
Wow, okay. Good, John. Spell your last name, John, so.
Pardon me?
SAP.
Sapienza, S-A-P-I-E-N-Z-A.
Why do I know that name?
SIP,
S-A-P.
oh, just like you say it.
Just like,
Okay.
It's just a matter of looking from different lenses, right? We don't.
No, I don't think it's, everything that you're saying is,
we're all together on this, believe
I
me.
think
You know,
we
we're not trying to fight you at all.
I
You
don't,
know,
I
we're
don't
not
think
trying
that at
to
all.
argue with the board, the town.
Bob, I don't
the
think that at
Kiwanis
all. I consider you a good guy right now. It's a
We-
village hall.
Village, not town.
Whatever. I live in Campbell Hall, so.
I'm better.
That's a hamlet, I believe. Okay? See, there's a hamlet, there's a village, and there's a town. We're a village.
Well,
And it's
we
it.
all have to work together,
Yes,
and we
we
will
do.
always all work together. We've done it for, this is gonna be our 21st year. And,
10 seconds.
And there's not a day that doesn't go out that I'm sure everyone in here and out there pray that something like that never happens again.
thank you for listening to me, and you guys are doing a great job. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Bob.
Thank you, Mayor Buckler, thank you, Board. My name is Bob Youngins, I reside at 13 Pennsylvania Avenue. I will be brief. With regard to the park, a quick Google search on Flags for Heroes. Most every single one you come across is Veterans Day or Memorial Day. Over here, Veterans Day, November 11th, gets a little cold. I've seen snow on Halloween. The flags are usually up for a period of 30 days. For whatever reason, September 7th was decided on, and basically that is the midpoint of the initial flag flying in August till October. People don't have any issue with the flags or patriots. We're fully aware of Memorial Day, many are from Gold Star families. Most everybody involved that has spoken against this or voiced a concern about this have sons, brothers in the military, okay? It's not about the American flag, it's not about veterans. Personally working at the monument over the years, I've come in contact with all the families. Each and every one of those families, most particularly the wives, have voiced an opinion about how much they appreciate and enjoy that park. They go up the block to St. Mary's Cemetery, they visit the graves. They come collectively as families, they are seated there. There's a certain peace and tranquility to that park. They enjoy it. To those individuals, that's hallowed, sacred ground. I understand 9/11 is Patriots' Day. I think we can all agree the communities in the New York area or down in Washington, D.C. that were directly affected on 9/11 have a different association and a different concern about this. Any well-intentioned individual, president or not, with an edict, an executive order, saying that this is Patriots' Day is great. But I don't think the people in Wichita, Portland, Omaha, Madison have the same feeling and the same contact and the same affinity to this park and that day as those in the Hudson Valley and the New York surrounding community. People here lost loved ones, people they worked with for 20 years, children, spouses, and that's the tie. If the flags were up for 30 days from Memorial Day to the 4th of July, I don't think anyone on God's green earth would have an issue with this. Perhaps only the guy that cut the flagpole down, okay? But it's not about the flag, it's not about Memorial Day, it's not about Veterans Day. Everybody's firmly committed. You cut any of these individuals, they bleed red, white, and blue, okay? Why September 11th is in the middle of a 30-day display, I don't know. And like I said, if each of you go do a Google search on Flags for Patriots, it's always comes up Memorial Day and Veterans Day, okay? And we're all behind the vets. We love the Kiwanis. We realize it's a great organization, what they do for the community. I was a little more than brief, I apologize, and thank you very much for hearing my opinion.
Thank you. Yes.
Susan Walsky, 24 South Street. In regards to item H on the agenda, first of all, the terminology of mother-daughter homes is inconsistent with New York State Fair Housing. They are now called accessory apartments. To put it just in the R100 zone would not be fair to those that live in the RA zone as well as the RM zoning, so I would ask that you consider looking across all the zoning of the village, not just in the R100 zoning. Furthermore, New York State, which has the minimum code, defines a kitchen simply as something, a place to cook and prepare food. So if you want to water it down, you could say a microwave in a bathroom could be a kitchen. I would urge you to look at both New Windsor and Town of Newburgh's E-code regarding accessory apartments. I can tell you right now, because I've been through it, New Windsor will make you come in, not just remove the stove, remove every single cabinet and tie the electric and plumbing behind the walls.
And that's what John Terry has said is he believes is happening in Blooming Grove.
It's at Jeannie's discretion in the town of Blooming Grove. I'm just telling you, I know
Well,
what
you
New
see that, we
Windsor.
don't want it up to somebody's discretion.
Right, and I'm just telling you to look at both New Windsor and Town of Newburgh's E-code regarding accessory apartments. I am only too glad to meet with this board to offer recommendations to help guide you through this process.
Invitation accepted.
Thank you. I was brief.
You were. See, Bob?
I like Bob's shirt. Did y'all see Bob's shirt?
What happened to the 3 minutes? I guess it only applied to me.
Thank you for
No,
that.
I told
I love it. Bob
You want
knows
to finish,
everything.
you had a question.
He doesn't know what
So,
he
sir,
makes
he
stuff
doesn't
up.
know, you know, think quick.
I
You
love it.
did have a question, and you were cut off.
I did.
You remember the question?
No.
Ah,
I mean, there are certain things that I had requested. I was hoping that if we get this before the meeting.
I'm not sure if the applicant's going to prepare their responses to all of the public comments yet, since it's remaining open for more public comment. So since the public hearing was left open, it's the opportunity for the public to continue to give their comment to the applicant. So they may or may not come with answers to all of the questions and comments yet. I don't know yet.
And will we know prior to, or is it just gonna, when will we know?
We may not know until the meeting, because again, it's an extension of the public hearing, so that the public could have been properly notified and noticed that this was taking place. So this is another opportunity for anybody who maybe didn't get a chance to speak or learned something and wanted to comment or question again.